Okay, hello everyone. And I think the stream is good. So, all right. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. All right, let's get the hair situated. Anyway, if you are following on Instagram, you saw that I made a post there about Oracle Talks to introduce what that is for folks who are new followers for me. But for everybody new and old, I will recap some of what came through there. So I have been given by Spirit a new way to structure the format of the show, Oracle Talks, so that it remains relatively consistent and predictable, provided, of course, there's not like a big, astrological situation happening or download happening. Hello, thank you. So this is what the flow is going to look like. I'm going to, make it a point to keep to that for the moment. So we'll start first with introductions. So for those of you who are able to join live, say hello. If you want, you can give it a shout out for the area that you are checking in from, if you feel comfortable to do so. And also let me know what you're drinking. So today I have some green tea, and this is a Sencha green tea. So share in the comments what you're drinking. Then I will go through some announcements. Then I'll talk briefly about the astrology for the upcoming week, starting today through Wednesday of next week. Then we'll get into the supporting color and oracle card messages. And then after that, you can start typing in any requests from the angelic realm for help, support, guidance, healing, whatever, in the comments, and they will be showing up to do that for you on your behalf. Those things that you type in, I won't be reading or addressing. It's for them. Oh, from Charlotte. Oh, the new city. Yes. I vaguely remember that. There's a lot of people who were like having changes of jobs, changes of location, and or both. So yeah, I'm glad that you are happily in Charlotte, hopefully. And a peach tea waiting for your Indian food. Nice. Is that a peach green tea or a peach white, or is it just purely herbal? That sounds good. And then we'll get into the channel messages and then finish off with the closing prayer, which will just be a short acknowledgement of everyone. So I have a little piece of paper and a pen to try to remember to take notes of the time that each of those things begins, so that I can put them in the description box when the video fully uploads. So we'll see if I remember to do that throughout the whole thing. I would ask, though, if you are able to do that as well and put them in the comments, just in case I don't get to all of them, or for whatever reason I'm not able to help others who, when they're rewatching, they know the timing of things, but also when you go back in and rewatch and you want to go and specifically remember a particular part of the video, you can just hit the timestamp and jump to that. Okay. We had at a restaurant, it was delicious. Oh. Listen, baby, the restaurants be getting the good stuff though. It's like, tell me your secrets. Okay, so announcements. For those of you who are on my newsletter, you got the October month ahead messages. These were incredible downloads that I got from Spirit on behalf of the collective. So you got first dibs on being able to see those videos. I decided to switch things up also with guidance from Spirit to change how I am doing the monthlies, instead of doing them here on live stream, to actually do them instead on Zoom video and just keep the videos there. And part of that is for being able to hold and maintain the energetic space, as well as energetic safety for me, and to keep the the vibration and the messaging high without a lot of the interference, because a lot of times that tends to come in when I'm doing those videos, but also keeps the video quality more consistent. So that is that. Now, for those of you who, for whatever reason at this point, are not on my newsletter, I will be putting them up on my website most likely tomorrow. But yeah, keep checking on. They'll definitely be up by end of day Monday, but I'm going to try to knock out a lot of admin stuff tomorrow. So my goal, be to get it done tomorrow. But if for some reason I can't, it will definitely be up by end of day on Monday. So check that out if you didn't already see it. And hopefully those of you who already have been watching the videos, you're slowly making your way through. As you know, those videos were long and I loved it, but it was a lot to record. So with that being said, I definitely was getting the impression from Spirit like that's going to be the pretty much the new standard moving forward, which is totally fine, because I am having to refine and upgrade myself and how I show up in my offerings and things like that. So starting in November though, I'm going to continue doing them via Zoom video only, but they will be, all 12 videos will be available for purchase and download, not just viewing, but purchase and for viewing and download for only $10. And so I will work on getting that set up on my website where you can just go there and buy the videos. And if they maintain the same amount of length of time, I mean, you're easily getting anywhere from 12 up to 16 hours worth of content. Again, not only to view, but also to download. I will make that available. And the videos I just recorded now for October, those are also available for download. I just realized I forgot to write down the time I started announcements. I think it was around 3 minutes. See, this is why. Like, I just need to be in the flow. So your help, you guys' help with the announcements would be greatly appreciated. It might have been like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I don't know. So yeah, but that will be starting in November. And moving forward, that will be the deal. I will continue, of course, to do Oracle Talks here via live stream, since these are now starting to go longer, especially as well too, which is why like more of the structure came through about the key points to make sure that I hit, at least for right now, until, of course, Spirit switches things up. But I think we'll probably be rocking with this through the end of the year, because by the end of the year, we do have a new eclipse. So I expect there to be some changes or just slight adjustments and things like that. You know how I roll. So that's the announcement about the monthly videos. And of course, feel free to share that newsletter with folks if you, again, are on the newsletter. And if not, just share people the, when I have it on the websites, share the page so that they have access to the videos. What else? Next week, I will be opening up enrollment for the Lightworker Incubator, which will be starting in January. And enrollment will be open through mid-December, the early part of December, because I'm gonna close that sooner rather than later, so that I'm not bogged down with kind of onboarding people for the new semester once we get into the holiday season. So the biggest 2 changes I would say with the upcoming incubator is we will still be covering the same material. So if it's something that's been on the radar, that material will pretty much stay the same, but I am going to be including more group healing sessions than I normally do, because I already do group healing, but these are going to be specifically for the purpose of accelerating the ascension, the energetic extension of, all right, it's almost time to start channeling, the energetic ascension of each of the students, the participants. And I think right now I have it scheduled at 3 of them. So like 1 each month for the first 3 months. It's a 6-month program. So that will be different because it is specifically going to be for that purpose. And then what's the other change? Oh, they're going to be, the payment is going to be monthly instead of having to come up with all your money before the semester starts. So this will help take off any, I guess, additional financial pressure that people may have. Because I know sometimes, especially for that time of year, it can be really difficult. So I'm going to try that out for this this upcoming semester for the incubator and see how that works. And if I get a good response with that, then I'll continue doing monthly payments for the incubator. I will also be opening up. There will still be an application process, but I'll have it up on the website, and it's actually going to be pretty simple because my goal is really to get a lot more people in for the next year, just because of what all is going to be happening energetically for the collective in the spirit, and also the call and the need for a lot more light workers to be activated on their next level, more engaged with their service work, and really being prepared to hold down the fort and being, I guess, gateways or gatekeepers of peace in the midst of a lot of chaos that I perceive to be showing up for 2020. 2020 is definitely going to be a lot, and it's going to require a lot of spiritual maturity, a lot of mental and emotional fortitude, and self-care and self-discipline. So yeah, I astrologically and externally, I'm not looking forward to it, but I also know it's going to be absolutely incredible in terms of growth spiritually and individually and interpersonally. So it's going to very much be, I think, a lot of potential extremes. So being able to hold the middle path and help people get to a place where they can embody those energies is very much a call for next year. So if you've been thinking about it and have either been put off by paying everything up front, or not feeling like you are possibly quote unquote ready, or whatever it is, like, I encourage you to apply and to join. Just say yes, because if it's there on your spirit, you need to be there, point blank. Other announcements. I am going to be doing an astrology 101 workshop at the Salt Lounge. Oh my goodness. At the Salt Lounge in Long Beach, California. And that's happening on Saturday, October 19th at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's a 2-hour workshop. The cost is $30. The Salt Lounge is owned by this wonderful married Black couple. I think they've had that place for maybe just a few years. It's a recent business, but I'm really excited to be there. Be my first time actually doing a workshop there. So I'm also really excited to have my first workshop in that area, because I actually haven't done anything down in Long Beach. I usually stay up in LA area. So if you are in that vicinity or know anybody who lives in the Long Beach area, tell them about it and invite them to come out if they want to learn about how to interpret astrology quickly and easily in the way that I teach. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So that's coming up on October 19th. And I think that's actually all. All right, cool. So now we are shifting to astrology for the upcoming week. So where are we at now? 13:58. I'll just put it at 14. Okay, so this week, today is October 3rd. So what's going on today? Oh, well, Mercury went into Scorpio this morning at 1:14 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this would be, of course, 4:14. So that happened. We also right now are in the energy of the moon conjunct Jupiter, which is amazing because Thursday is Jupiter Day. So great energy. And then also later on tonight, Mars goes into Libra. So look at your chart and see where those placements are. Let's see, any big aspects for tomorrow? It's all moon stuff tomorrow. The moon is shifting into Capricorn tomorrow. So I would just say these next 2 days approximately, starting tomorrow. To just be mindful of how you are feeling. Hello, good afternoon. Share with everybody what tea you're drinking, if anything. I'm doing a green tea, and somebody else is doing a peach. Oh, you're having a return of Mercury to Scorpio. That's awesome. But yeah, so in regards to the moon, because it is going into Capricorn, and that is where the South Node is currently, this may bring up a lot of self-sabotaging thoughts, negative emotions, fears, etc. So if you can, try not to do or make any big decisions right now, or to let your emotions get the best of you, to pop off and get angry, like none of that stuff, because you may be feeling a little bit more exposed than you normally would, maybe even a little bit more tender or unsafe or whatever it is. So just watch that. But this Saturday is the first quarter square moon, which is in Capricorn, and that happens at 9:47 a.m. So see where that is going to be in your chart. If you want the degrees, go to my website on the blog page and look at the October astrology forecast, and I put the degrees for the transits there. That way you can pinpoint it exactly for you. Saturday, we're also having Mercury quincunx, what is that, Chiron. So Saturday may be a really weird day, just FYI. Or even just Friday and Saturday, to be honest. Okay, so Sunday, we will have the moon conjunct Pluto. So again, that may be, these next 2 days may be really, 2 to 3 days may be really tough emotionally. But that evening or early Monday morning, we have Mercury opposite Uranus. So Mercury obviously is in Scorpio, opposite Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So you might actually find that there's some really good ideas and insights that come in for you during that day. On Monday is when we do have the Sun square Saturn transits. And I believe I talked about this in my astrology forecast, but that's happening on Monday. The Sun right now is in Libra, obviously Saturn in Capricorn. So that might be a tough day potentially, where like if you feel like you are bumping up against some authority figure. So just kind of watch it at work or even with yourself, especially if you're being too hard. But ultimately, because the Sun is approaching Capricorn, this would be the third quarter square of the cycle. Okay, so you may find that you have a lot of motivation coming through to get things done, to start the week off strong, set your goals, be on top of your time management, all that kind of thing. I think it actually could be positive. Of course, depending on your particular chart, but usually that third quarter square energy can really help with tying things up so that you can finish the cycle strong. Tuesday, we have Venus also going into Scorpio. So Mercury's already in Scorpio. Now Venus is coming into Scorpio. So that's happening in the morning on Tuesday, October 8th. So this should feel like a really interesting anniversary reunion moment, because remember we had Venus going into Scorpio and going retrograde when Jupiter was in Scorpio. So that was an interesting time. So it'll be interesting to like come back around and see where you are now and how much better or worse potentially you might be in terms of being clear and strong in your yeses, being clear and strong in your no's, and understanding that the maybes are also no's. Remember when I've been talking about that, right? So that's Venus and Scorpio. So she's coming back into that sign on Tuesday. We also are going to have that day Mars opposing Chiron. So you may again be second guessing yourself, but be sure to push through. And anything else? Wednesday, it's just all moon transit. So I tend not to focus on that, but the moon is going to be moving into Pisces. So that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week may be a lot of emotional energy coming up because Pisces is about the unconscious realm. So just be mindful of that, okay? Oh, you got Venus and Scorpio too? You were just straight up having a homecoming. All right, any questions on the astrology for this upcoming week or the astrology going on in general right now? I can answer those real quick and then we'll shift to getting the color for the week for support, as well as the divine being walking with us or higher level energy walking with us. Oh, I have water too, actually. So happy the sun is out. Okay, so I don't see any questions, so I think we're okay. All right, so let's get to supporting messages. So 21, I'll do 2120. Okay, so color for the week. Side note, did anyone have has anyone felt or experienced an uptick in darker energies from last night? Or earlier this week as well too, because for my Lightworker fam who are tuned into what is going on in terms of what is being cleared and healed for the collective. What's in the dark is showing its ass right now. All right. Let's see, what color? So everybody take a deep breath. Supporting color for a higher level expression. Oh, we got a couple. 3 actually. Okay. Yeah, deep healing for sure. First color out is yellow, and specifically the healer class of the light workers got this in the light worker forecast for the month. So we all got to focus on purifying our body this month in particular. Oh, and then we got this card. So that's card number 22, which is 4, right? And then rainbow, which is card number 1, the first card of the deck. That's really powerful. So yellow says purify your body. Rainbow is connect to spirit in nature in particular, which is interesting because I was called and I shared with the current Lightworker Incubator students as well as the alumni to make sure they're staying on top of their herbal protection, because the plant kingdom is really helping to protect us right now from a lot of this dark energy. And then last card, number 36, which is a 9, that's amazing, is Azure. And that is protect yourself. So definitely confirmation for what I was getting this morning. Okay, and bottom of the deck is Jade, take action. So this is not up for negotiation, y'all. These are the directives. And again, if you watch the Oracle, the October videos, you know these are directives. Okay, so let me hold up this energy. So what I want you to do is tune into this while I'm reading the message, and I'll also, of course, give you the action step that it has. And I'm actually, let's see. 2450. I'll try to do each of these for the colors as well, so you can come back to it specifically. All right, doing the best I can to help y'all. All right, so yellow assists with purification, treating diabetes, and cleaning the intestines and bowels. Ease arthritis, release toxicity, and clear your skin with yellow. As the color of intellect and mental stimulation, yellow can also help you to think more quickly and clearly. Purify your digestive system with yellow rays of light. Okay, so this is very big on the digestive system right now. So we are still really having to work with the body vehicle. So I'm going to ask for the angels to surround everyone who is tuning in and watching, who is giving consent to receive this support to transmit yellow rays of light to the intestines and the bowels and the full digestive system. So the action step while that's going on, if you choose to receive it, go outside, spend a few minutes looking at and feeling the rays of the sun on your skin. Imagine bright yellow sunlight moving through your whole digestive system, cleaning your intestines, pancreas, and bowels of all toxicity and waste. Sense the density dissolving and your organs becoming clean and healthy. Pour some water into a yellow glass and put it into the sunlight for half an hour. Then drink this water while focusing on purifying your body, mind, and heart. Say, I will allow my mind and body to be cleansed inside and out. Okay, I don't have a yellow glass, but I was seeing that citrine could also be good for that too. So if you want to clean your citrine is fine to be in water. It's a quartz, so it's not going to dissolve. So you can do a gentle, natural soap and water with that to clean your citrine. It'll obviously be a lot easier if you have like a small piece of a tumbled one, and make sure it's a natural citrine, not a fake one. And put that, if you don't have a yellow glass, in a clear glass of water. So I might actually try that later when literally after this is what I'm being told. So I will be obedient. Yes, serious instructions. Oh, goodness. All right. So next is rainbow. This is the next directive for us, and this is specifically for this week. So this needs to be a priority, y'all. This needs to be a priority. Rainbow ray is a combination of many colors together, making it a very powerful and regenerating energy to work with. Rainbow allows you to lighten up and feel happier and more alive. It also opens the mystical realm, connecting you to spirit, fairies, angels, and your creativity. Allow rainbow rays to lead you into the realm of fairies. And in the action step, go to a park, look around, and find a tree that attracts you. So again, having to be outside of nature. Stand still and focus within, feeling the tree's pull as it beckons you. Walk over to the tree, place your arms around it, feel its connection to the earth, to the other trees, to the world. Allow some of the tree's divine energy to pour into your body, fill you up, and awaken your own divinity. Walk around the park, smell the flowers, and listen to the birds singing. Smile as you take in the beauty of nature. Okay. And then lastly, Azure, which is card number 36. So that's a nature interaction. And now, angels, we are going to switch to Azure, and this is the protect yourself. Azure purifies your aura and strengthens your connection to the divine, leading you to discover your truth and empowering you to make important life choices. Immerse yourself with Azure rays to protect yourself from negative, dense energies and to find your center. And I just realized I forgot to write these other ones. I'm going to be able to get this at some point, you guys. These timestamps. All right. The action for this. So while I'm reading this, I asked for the angels to now send Azure to the auras of each individual person who is giving consent for that to occur, whether they are watching live or on the replays. Breathe in Azure rays of light to feel safe and secure, imagining an Azure bubble of light that surrounds and protects you. Say, I ask divine healing light to surround me with love, peace, and healing. Please bar any dense energy from entering my space and affecting me. Thank you. Do this for yourself and your loved ones whenever you would like some added protection. Okay, so that's that. Let me know how you're feeling. That's probably why I wasn't called to get the Threads of Fate deck, because there were so many of these. I was only called to get these two decks. Okay, so now we're going to get to the Oracle deck. So this is the Ascension cards, and we'll go with 3210. Okay, so we'll see what higher realm energy has directives for us for this week ahead. Feeling good. I think fairies and dryads have been around me also. Yeah, I was picking up fairy energy for myself yesterday as well too. Like when you have that moment where it's like something, like you see something flit around you. That's been happening a lot these last 2 weeks, but specifically also as well last night rather, which is funny. Okay. Higher level realm guidance that's walking with us for this week. Okay. These are a whole lot of cards. I am not going to take them, but I'm going to look at this one that came off on the side, and it was Fire Dragons, card number 7. Dragons are fourth dimensional elementals. They can access and transmute heavy vibrations that angels cannot reach. Archangel Gabriel oversees Thor and his fire dragons. You are asked to send out fire dragons supervised by Gabriel to consume negativity in places and auras. Then ask Gabriel's angels to replace the lower energies with a shimmering diamond of pure light. Call on the fire dragon to transmute any stuck energy in your own aura and to lighten you up at a higher frequency so that you can radiate enthusiasm and joy. I want a single card. Let me be more specific, which is why all those cards came out. The higher level being our concept, who will best support us in our directive for embodying a higher level trajectory for this week coming. This week we're starting now. Again, a bunch of cards. Mhm. I will mention this real quick. I'm still going to keep shuffling, but the Veils of Illusion card came up, also number 7, which is why I'm going to mention it. It says, when we incarnate, we go through the veil of amnesia and the 7 veils of illusion, who we truly are. Okay, when you dissolve those veils, you become fully enlightened. To do this, you are called to take mastery, believe in the spiritual world, practice unconditional love, honor animals and the nature kingdom, walk with masters and angels, see that all is connected, and finally live as an enlightened being. The work is always first and foremost. Coming back to our true divine nature and dissolving the illusion little by little. The illusion theme has been strong this week. Nice. Okay. And 2 cards. One of them again is a 7, and here, number 52. I'm persistent. I'm going to get a single card. This is Mother Mary's aquamarine mantle. The one that came on top is the Ascended Masters Retreat. So if you do have connection with Ascended Masters and you want to get additional help and support, additional from the angels, of course, you can go to their retreats in the etheric for healing. Single card, please. Thank you. I'm gonna stick with this one. Okay, I was trying to not have it be like this high because I kept seeing like Sirius and like intergalactic ships and things like that, and like I'm not trying to like channel that right now. But apparently, Spirit's like I said. Let me sip on my own self right now. Okay. Card number 29, the Intergalactic Council. We going there today, guys. All right. So the Intergalactic Council of 12 Great Masters makes decisions for the highest good of this universe. This council includes, and this would be at the time of the creation of these cards. I don't know if this is necessarily the case now, so take this as it resonates or with a grain of salt. The council includes Marco, Hilarion, Jesus, Ashtar. The Ashtar card actually had shown up before. Cthulhu, El Moria. El Moria has been popping up too, along with Jesus. Paul the Venetian, Saint Germain, Kuan Yin, Lady Nada, Serapis Bey, and Lord Maitreya. And guess who's at the bottom of the deck? Lord Maitreya. Saying or thinking their names raises your frequency. So I hope you all are feeling this right now. Recognize you are a multidimensional being. Connect with your deepest wisdom and focus on the well-being of the universe. Your guidance is to ask Universal Angel Butialil, It's B as in boy. Okay, B as in boy, U, T as in Tom, YALIL. I would assume it's Boot Yalu. I'm not familiar with that. Well, I mean, it's a universal angel, so why would I be familiar with it? So your guidance is to ask this universal angel to take you to the intergalactic council in meditation or sleep and offer to serve the universe. This will greatly expand your consciousness. And the affirmation is, I visit the intergalactic council today. Now, since we literally have Lord Maitreya here, and I feel like this Lord has shown up before, I haven't consciously worked with this energy before. But because this is, one of the names here in particular with this card, I'll ask for that energy to come in for me to connect with for channeling today. So Lord Maitreya, I'll read the card number 30. Lord Maitreya is head of the Great White Brotherhood, the beings whose auras radiate the pure white of integrity and high intention. And that was why I had to wear all this white right now. Okay, because I was told I needed to be in white. Drawing this card suggests it is time for you to examine every area of your life carefully and practice purity of thought, word, and deed. You are asked to become, or you are asked to be, not even become, because it's a future thing. You are asked to be an example of right living. For your light will then draw many to the ascension way. Your reward is the peace that passes all understanding and the joy of flowing smoothly on your higher path in life. And the affirmation is, I connect with the Great White Brotherhood and radiate pure white light today. I mean, if that wasn't a call for an ascension program, I don't know what is. But this is also speaking to what I was saying earlier about the Lightworker Incubator, like this stepping up into being this example of right living so that your light draws many to the path of ascension, to the ascension way. You are that example. So yeah, come to the incubator. All right, how's everybody doing? Now is going to be the time to, if you have anything, questions, comments, or concerns that you want to pose to the angels or the Great White Brotherhood, because I'm going to channel I guess in regards to the intergalactic council. So this might actually end up, well, we'll see what comes through. But yeah, questions, comments, and concerns. And I'll ask for the angels and the Great White Brotherhood. Lord Maitreya, but the Great White Brotherhood, honestly, to provide you with answers. So go ahead and type that in the comments. I won't be reading them because that's not for me to do. That's for the higher realms to facilitate. Oh, also, I knew I was going to forget something. Spend time with your ancestors, honestly, for these next 6 months. Daily. Before it was a weekly thing, but daily. Put out some fresh water. Give them a little coffee or their favorite candy. Put some flowers up, whatever it is. Work with your ancestors. Spend time with them. Thank them for their help and support. Allow them to show up to help you. To remove obstacles, provide you with insight, support, healing. And also move slower through your thought processes, through your day, so that you can truly hear and take action on what it is for you to do. And whatever is really coming through strong for you to accomplish for that day, whatever it is, just make sure you get that done. Everything else that is on the to-do list, it will get done. Trust the timing that they are taking you through in terms of what really, honestly, truly is a priority, okay? All right, so I guess nobody got anything. Oh, no, I see comments coming in. Cool. All right, so let's go to the channel message. So what time we at? We'll do 46:35 channeling. Actually, we'll give a few minutes for the connection. So this will be the transmission. And we will do 5 minutes. So type in what you need to type in, but we're going to do 5 minutes of receiving energy transmission. And this is going to be specifically from the Great White Brotherhood. What did you miss? The card? We're just doing the energy transmission. So you can, if you have something that you want the angels or the Great White Brotherhood to help you with, type that in the comments in the chat. And I am, while that's going on, I'm connecting with Lord Maitreya. Welcome in, new folks. So if you're just joining in, say hello to everyone. Let us know what you are drinking, water, tea, coffee. We are also receiving a healing transmission from the Great White Brotherhood. So as you're coming in, first start with connecting to asking for the angels that are here, the angelic realm, to flood your body with the color of yellow, specifically to the intestines and the bowels and the full digestive system. And then when that has gotten completed to a certain degree, then ask them to shift the energy to the azure color for protection of the aura body. You can also tap into the rainbow light if they bring that in, but definitely the yellow and the azure. And then finally, ask for the Great White Brotherhood to connect in with you, okay? And then type into the comments any questions, support, healing, what have you, that you would like the Brotherhood to help you with. I will not be addressing those. That is for them to take care of. And as a last note, make sure you are spending time daily with your ancestors. Okay, so one thing I will mention now, and we'll see if I'll come back around to it again later, is one of the things that they brought my attention to a few days ago was that when you are connecting to what we call higher dimensional star races, it is our own individual higher dimensional aspect that is in communication with them. So what I mean by that, let me actually write this down, the channeling, I'll just put it at 54, just to be safe. What I mean by that is, say you are connecting to something that might be considered 12th dimensional. The communication with that 12th dimensional beingness is happening between your 12th dimensional aspect and that 12th dimensional being. Those two aspects are in council. And then that light information and transmission, because things are transmitted at the speed of light, if not faster there. So, communication is very different. They're not forming words and all that kind of thing. It's light, frequency, sound. That information is then translated from your 12th dimensional aspect to you here in the third, fourth dimensional world and processed through your aura body, your biological body, physical body, so that you can interpret that and make sense of it in a way that works for you, in a way that you can actually hopefully grok, if you will. A lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, the beings that you are in communication with, higher or lower, quote unquote, are dimensional aspects of you. And by you, I mean you as the soul, not you as the personality, the human person. It's actually an aspect of you as a soul having an embodied experience as that particular higher dimensional being. Okay, because the soul exists in all time, spaces, frequencies, and dimensions. When we talk about the star races, we are literally talking about consciousness beings that have their templates based off of and projected from the particular star of that star system, okay? So for us here as human beings, we refer to the angels and the angelic realms. Those are all higher dimensional aspects of us, right? So as we come further down dimensions, if the angels were going to be physically embodied in our form, like we are an aspect of them, possibly the quote unquote most evolved, just without the wings or that imagery, right? But you could say if there was another star race or star system that was looking at us or interacting with us, they might call us the angelics, or all the beings might be kind of grouped under the angelics. Or, if we call our sun Solaris, we could be referred to as, and we meaning again all the beings in the solar system because it's sun centric, we could be called Solarians. So when we're connecting with, say, the Arcturians is referring to Arcturus, the star. And who knows how many planets are in that particular system. And the other associated stars that are traveling with Arcturus, because Arcturus is the brightest star of that kind of star cluster, that potential remnant of a smaller galaxy that's moving away from us. But those consciousness templates, we're referring to, again, the sun. So this is coming through to just remind you of, as those Veils of Illusion card came up earlier, it's important not to get yourself into this idea of assigning power or this idea of something better than yourself outside of you in contact with you. If you're having contact with something in a quote unquote higher level, whether it's light or dark, the communication is happening at the same level for the soul, which is why there can be communication. You have to be resonating. There's a part of the soul that has to be resonating at the same frequency for there even to be a data transfer, a data stream. Okay, so a 12th dimensional being, or whatever, I'm just using the number as an example, but a 12th dimensional being that might be coming through, stepping through from another star system, okay, another star race, is communicating with the 12th dimensional aspect of the soul based off of this sun template of which it's projecting itself from. All the suns, well, I mean, everything in life is connected, but in particular, just to keep this focus, all of the suns are connected in a particular galaxy. So we have what could be considered one great central sun in the center of the Milky Way galaxy, if we could even conceive of that, because we can't technically see it, or really, I think, get clear about what's there at the center. But you can think of it as nesting dolls, okay? So our sun might be like the smallest nesting doll in this particular region of the Milky Way galaxy, because the Milky Way galaxy is huge. There's a ridiculous amount of galaxies, so a ridiculous amount of solar systems. So it's, yeah, but we're like on the edge of like one of the outer arms. So we're all sort of exposed to extra galactic energy, which is interesting why this intergalactic council card came up. We'll get to that in a second. But all of the stars, all the suns in the Milky Way galaxy are all connected. They're all sons and daughters, if you will, of the great central sun. The way that consciousness or physical experience or what have you looks physically for different star systems is purely going to be a matter of what the environmental considerations are going to be. So if you have, like, for instance, a solar system that has more watery bodied planets, those beings are going to have a different kind of look in biology than those who might be on a more arid land, right? Like you get it. There's adaptation to the environment, but the concept and the idea is the same of the consciousness templates, basically meaning the variety of expressions of individuation, okay, individual consciousness is going to be based off of the primary template of the star for that system. And that primary template is going to have all the different variations possible within it. So think of this in terms of Metatron's cube. If you've heard of Metatron's cube, you know that, hopefully, mostly, know that it's said to contain the five, I believe it's five platonic solids. So the platonic solids meaning solids that have and are made up solely of basic 2D shapes, right? So it's similar to that. It's like you have this bigger geometry, which has, you know, five different options of ways of expressing consciousness. And those five different options are going to develop based off of evolution and the interaction with the physical environment. So with our sun, you know, the sun is its own geometry. And within it, it has all sorts of, you know, smaller geometries that can be created within that space. So for the human species, because there's so many other different species, even just on our planet, right? We have plant kingdom, animal kingdom, crystal, etc. But for the human template, the human geometry, within that has many different streams, rays, variations that it can show. And that's what I'm drawn to in terms of astrology, is because those 12 approximate signs, they help us to grasp the spectrum of availability. You know, they're not hard and fast demarcations because there is no real separation. We're talking about a spectrum. But that's what, you know, this rainbow is. Like, you have a spectrum of colors, and this would be like 7 general colors, right? But for the human template, we can think of it as a spectrum of 12, okay? But like, for instance, again, our higher level aspects would be those quote unquote angelic versions. And all of the plant kingdom, all the animal kingdoms, and all the other kingdoms here just on our physical planet will have their lower and higher dimensional aspects as well. But again, all that to say, when you're in communication with higher level beings from other star races, you are speaking to them at their level, which is why communication can happen. So if you're communicating with a ninth dimensional being, they're communicating with a minimum ninth dimensional being, if not higher, aspect of your soul. And again, more often than not, when you're connecting with another being, because all of the stars are nested in each other, meaning they share the same soul, we are more likely than not speaking to an aspect, another star race aspect of our individual soul. Big words. These are not even big words, though, in my opinion. But get that education up, yo. Nerd out. Nerd out. All right. Any questions on that before I jump into next things? Before I pull cards, I should say. You are welcome. Okay. All right. So, welcome to the new Oracle. And quantum jump. Let's get lifted, fam. All right, so coming back around to Maitreya. You're feeling the digestive system healing right now. Awesome. I'm definitely down for it because I had some food the other day that has actually caused some reactions. Like I can tell my body is not happy with it, and I was doing great after the cleanse, but so I'm gonna try my best to take it easy. Although I probably won't tonight with dinner, but I'll try my best. All right. Oh. You got Maitreya, and I think Marco's coming in too. Let me deal with Maitreya first. Let me pull the Marco card also. Yeah, that came out. Okay, so Marco is card number, Marco card number 47. So it's also 11, just like the Intergalactic Council card. Master Marco represents the highest galactic federation of our solar system. The capital of which is on Saturn. That actually makes no sense. Our solar system is not a galaxy. How actually should this be? Because he's on the council. This is more, I'm getting more military up, of course, as I start speaking to myself. Because I was like, this feels more like military, like this doesn't make any sense. So he represents whatever, the capital of which is on Saturn. He liaises with Commander Ashtar, who is also on the Intergalactic Council, Commander Ashtar of the Intergalactic Fleet, to bring us the wisdom and knowledge held by stellar cultures, meaning star cultures, star races. He also assists Hilarion on the fifth ray of technology, science, and knowledge to enable people to expand their higher mental abilities and develop spiritual technology for the future. So again, nerd up, family. Your guidance is to open your mind to communications and connections from other star systems and universes, and ask Marco to assist and protect you. Okay, so Lord Maitreya is more right now about getting yourself into that place of highest integrity, highest intention, and right living here and now. And then as you are working through that process, then start opening up connections to other star systems, star races, universes, but ask for Marco to assist and protect you in that endeavor. Because again, everything in the higher realms is not all love and light. It's the full spectrum of experience. So don't just be like, oh, everything is here for my highest good. I mean, ultimately, yes, but that does not mean You might not come across some dark stuff that might want to take advantage, so just be careful. But that energy, this master is there to protect. And the affirmation is, I'm open to wisdom from the stars. So we're going to first do Lord Maitreya. Let's see what comes through with them. Okay, directives for the week ahead, please. Did not realize there would be a teaching today, but that's cool. All right, I'm getting a different spread that I need to be doing. 1 second. Okay, I'm actually going to do 3 spreads. Never mind. Okay, it's just going to be a day. It's just going to be a day. Okay. All right, so we are getting protection from the higher realms, just FYI. But you can definitely bring in or specifically engage with more of that, and this would be the Arcturians in particular, especially with a lot of this dark energy coming in, so ask for their support. Getting a confirmation again that we have crossed the threshold. You know, this Ace of Wands here has been showing up consistently and persistently recently. So we are fully on this new path. There's no more like transitioning over, like we're here, been there, done that, got the t-shirt for it. We are firmly on the path, and there is enough distance from the threshold or the door that we walked through now that everyone actually should be feeling this and feeling it quite clearly. All right. So what we are to be working on right now is this 9 of Cups energy. So keeping focus on the vision or the visioning process. And the visioning process is one where you are focused on, this is 9 of Cups. So this is focused on the true nature of the soul. And if you've already watched the Pisces October video, listen, like it's done, that timeline dropped off. It's like moving on now. But if you watch the Pisces video, the one that was like almost 2 hours long for the October videos, the big message that came through there is, you know, your will, not mine. And this was about being in submission to the soul because it sees more, it knows all. It exists outside of time, space, and it is whole. It does not sit and rest from a space of polarity. All right. So your job is to keep going in that direction, especially if you are to be working more with the great white brotherhood. Okay. This is what that means. So it's not going from one extreme to the other, or overvaluing the light versus the dark, et cetera, et cetera. Both are necessary in the manifest world. Your job is the middle path, the middle way, the path of divine neutrality, true peace, which is wholeness, not separation. So do not perpetuate the distortion, the separation, etc., that you see externally. Your job is to walk through the world as a whole, healed being that is showing up as a soul, as truth, as reality, not just as the human experience. Now, that is no small order. It is a very tall order, but that is the objective, and it always has been, but especially here and now. Keep that as the focus this week. Now, on one hand, this actually should feel easier to do because we are coming into the first quarter square moon on Saturday. So as more and more light of the moon happens, we tend to feel the energy building within, feel more of that motivation. So that should be good. On the other end, you also really have to remain on guard for the quote unquote random thoughts, emotions, feelings, or potential actions that you want to take that are old energy, negative energy, etc. Recognize that when those things come up, that is not you, that is something that is being healed and cleared. Your objective is to do Nine of Cups. Keep making the higher choice, keep taking the higher action, follow what the soul tells you to do, not what the mind tells you to do. One of the things that will be very helpful with this yellow ray energy that has come through is that it will calm your overactive mind down. When you see this yellow energy, you see how peaceful this is. It's not like a bright neon yellow, which would be like, overactive, hypervigilant. This is bright, this is clear, this is balanced, this is peaceful. This transmission, a feeling of experience, is actually the perfect operating aspect of your mental body. Okay, and part of what will help with that too is the healing and the clearing of the digestive organs. So yeah, okay. So continue working on that. Because yes, there is going to be a lot of stuff still popping up. It is disintegrating. So there is a lot of, on some level, death and dying experiences happening. Dissolving, transmutation, removal that is happening, or that you may be called to do. That's perfectly fine. But again, it's still in the container and the purpose of this. And if you find yourself getting out of that space, it's probably because this energy is taking over too much. So you still need to be on guard. I mean, we did get the protection color of Azure here. So we do need to be mindful, especially now that Pluto is direct, okay? I'm hearing, though, if you are wanting and needing more protection, so besides the message of working with nature, which is going to be here closer to home, so to speak, go angel, Great White Brotherhood, and of that, Lord Maitreya and Marco. Okay, and then above that, quote unquote, would be the Arcturians. You can chill with that for now. If you don't have an affinity to any of those, then stay closer to home. I mean, for the most part, nature and angels is definitely perceivable for everyone, but honestly, like, whether you feel it or not, you speaking the words, you having the intention, sets it up. Like, it's not something that you really have to micromanage in that regard. And I'm holding the intention in the space and affirming here through this transmission that these energies are here to show up for in a protective stance for the further development of the Ascension Way. Okay, so what is coming ahead for us, which is actually perfect, is the Four of Wands. This is a Aries card, and actually next week is actually going to be the full moon in Aries. So that should feel really good. When I see this Four of Wands, this talks about a balancing of either the inner masculine and feminine energy, or the balancing of the so-called light and dark polarities within us, however you want to look at it. But ultimately, it's about finding, if you see in the middle of this card here, that flame right in the middle, is finding the integration of these two. This is actually when you have balance. In my other deck, the Thoth deck, is actually a circle. And I like that visual more. personally, for conveying that. Here we go. It's like the circle is complete. So again, no part gets negated. And if you see this, you literally have the dove representing the highest light, and the goat, which would be the devil energy, which would be the lowest night or dark. And it's equal numbers of both. Like they're literally devil here, dove here. Like there's one on each, and it's an equal number of them. And when they are whole and balanced, you operate as a soul, as one. And this is like the wheel of a chariot. You're able to move forward. If you skew too much to one side or the other, it doesn't work. And this isn't talking about like if you think too high and light or if you think too low and dark, it skews. It's no. There is a different wisdom and a way of being that emanates from the all that is, as opposed to from the space of polarity. And what we're doing with this Nine of Cups is shifting our perspective here, and then understanding this is giving birth to the circle, as opposed to the circle giving birth to the center. Meaning what is externally being expressed giving rise to the underlying principle. Like you actually can't build the circle or any wheel if there's not a center point. This has to be in place. This determines the rest. So this is about getting, again, reacquainted to the true nature of who you are, but also the true nature of reality. Oneness gives birth to all. And that is your job. That is our job, to walk through the world as that. Okay? And be cute while we do it. Yeah, but let the, especially if you're dealing with, and those who might be more intermediate or advanced light workers in particular, all of the higher level dark stuff that you are coming across, let the Arcturians handle it. No one else really needs to be in the mix right now. Okay, this is not for Dragon family. This is not even for the angelic realm. Like, just let the Arcturians handle it. Because this right now, the warfare, specifically like this little portion, is intergalactic. And we are dealing with more, Arcturus is more of an elder star race. So their knowledge and abilities is definitely farther than what we could know have access to in terms of calling in. And right now is not the time for training, if that makes sense. Like later on, the training will happen, so that we'll be able to more actively engage with those higher dimensional aspects on our stream. Right now is just not the time, okay? Because a lot of this stuff is a little too close to home for us, and it's a form of protection for us. So let them handle it, let them do it. Okay, any questions before I shift to Marco? the best way that you can help if you're like, oh, I want to engage more with the higher dimensional work, is to do this. This Nine of Cups, Four of Wands situation. Because the thing is, it's going to, working at whatever that next higher level is going to be for you, is going to require you embodying this. So I'm sitting here in proxy to show you an example, but it's going to require you embodying this. Okay, it's not you as your perspectives, thoughts, belief systems, ways of being is not operating in a place of mastery enough to do that yet if this hasn't been a priority, right? So make this a priority and then you will be able to gain access to that. But the higher up you go, if you're really working for the benefit of all, the less polarity needs to be showing up within you. Does that make sense? Which is why you also hear me say, like, your personal work is always your primary work to do, because anything that's not being dealt with here on the human level, on the more basic or lower level, which, you know, there's no judgment around that, but that stuff can actually sabotage you or leave an opening for attack in the upper realms, because it weakens your field. And you need to be able to be in control of your own energy, not only just in terms of potential boundary crossing from outside in, but also being masterful in how you deal with others, being in control of your energy, being in control of your emotions, affirming divine consent always, operating from a place of divine neutrality always. And that doesn't mean in action. It just means that the things that you do and the things that you engage with don't create collateral damage for the collective. Are you safe enough to be given certain powers, or are you going to be a liability? I mean, real talk. But it's like there's nobody outside that can assess that for you. Your own work and your own inner coming to center, coming to reality within is actually what's going to be the indication of whether or not you are ready. And trust me, there is no rush. Honestly, if everyone was able to focus on their own stuff, a lot of things would shift. But it's the hardest thing to do because there's so much that we are here in the physical realm dealing with, you know, especially if you are a person of color, if you live anywhere at the margins or the intersections of society. It's a tougher thing to do because you have a lot more things that are pulling attention. So it is a privilege. It is a privilege to prioritize your spiritual walk, your spiritual path. So if you have the spiritual privilege to do so, please make the most of it, because it's one last person who is causing harm. It's one last person who is being fed upon by the dark. Like it helps. Every single person helps the equation. But please don't. Please hold gratitude for the privilege that you have to prioritize your spiritual walk, because many people are not able to do so because of external circumstances. You have a great wealth here. And this doesn't mean that you carry everyone, but it matters. Like, it literally does matter. And if you think I can do a lot, or I'm holding a certain kind of thing, like imagine, again, sitting as a proxy, imagine if you were the one showing up like this. Like, how would you be a blessing just by your pure existence in your own community, in your friends, in your family life? You literally would be the stopping of cycles of trauma and abuse. Like, it would stop, full stop with you. Like, that's not a small thing, y'all. Like, stuff that's been going on for 100 years and just keeps going generation after generation. If you were just that person who was embodying this, whatever this looks like for you as expressed through you, like, think about the level of power that has to be. That you focusing on this stops the perpetuation of literally hundreds of lifetimes before you. Just your single life. Like, that's the power that you have in the simplicity of prioritizing your spiritual path if you have the privilege to do so. Like, is that real? It's huge. This is not a small thing. Think about, like, even just in this country here in the US, what, 250 million people approximately? And all those, because we have billions of people on the planet, so let's keep this in a way that we can have some kind of access to, of being able to visualize. But 250 million people, each of them with their own lineages, mother and father, going back even just a few hundred years. Think about that. Assuming everybody had the actual ability to prioritize their spiritual walk, how would this planet change if the folks here in the US did this? That's just one country. This one country has so much influence on this planet, both positive and negative. Like, imagine that. But also for the people of color in particular, especially Black folk, but people in color in general. Y'all, us doing this work, the things that are being halted, full stop, because we're choosing to embody the ascension way. Think of what could just be broken off of your family from that. Whether you actually have to go to war in the spirit or not, but you just doing your healing and praying for your ancestors, like that, y'all, sit with that, real talk, sit with that and journal with that and really think about the magnitude of what is built up in your individual life. And when you find yourself getting caught up with the negative news cycle and folks being like, you know, the world is going to hell in the handbasket, step back and be like, wait a minute. 5-10 years ago, I know how different the culture was compared to now. And the people who are choosing to go to counseling and get therapy and work on their body and take care of their health and opening up to the spiritual nature and all that, like the radical shift that has happened just in the last 5 to 10 years. Imagine how many people are about to get woken up this next year for 2020. Real talk. And they're going to need way showers, teachers, mentors, helpers, healers. Can you please do this so that you can be, what does Maitreya says? You are asked to be an example of right living, for your light will then draw many to the ascension way. Your reward is the peace that passes all understanding and the joy of flowing smoothly on your higher path in life. Come to the Lightworker Incubator. The Lightworker Incubator is not just for folks who are spiritual light workers, meaning they do this work of like healing and channeling, all that. Anybody who is in service to the planet, to making the community a better place, the collective better, what have you, those are light workers to me. Spiritual light workers are just a subset of that work. But we're shifting now as a collective, again, into remembrance of our true soul nature. And that's going to require knowing and letting it be commonplace how to deal with our energy bodies, the different realms, all those kinds of things. Like that is the norm. That's where we are shifting. So if you're being called to learn more and develop that within yourself, please do so. Please, please sign up so that you can be and operate as a living example / way shower, what have you, advice giver to folks who are like, hey, I'm starting to feel this, or I think I just saw that, or this ability is starting to wake up. Like you can be the one who provides them with grounded intelligence and intel for how to navigate that in a way that is safe and self-honoring, and bringing them to a place of soul sovereignty. Please step up into that if you are getting that call. And honestly, if you're watching me, I understand how spirit works. So, and I get it. Like at this past year, it's been helping me learn how to be a better teacher. But now spirit's like, everybody needs to be doing this. Because the wave of folks waking up is going to be so much bigger, y'all, next year. It's going to be so much bigger. And it's good. But people need to see themselves along the path. I'm going to call very specific people to me because of my soul frequency. You're going to call very specific people to you because of your soul frequency. And again, whether this is in a spiritual light worker context or your greater career work, whatever it is, it actually doesn't matter. It's both and, in my opinion, because all is one. But people, you are going to have specific medicine and encouragement and keys of liberation for them that I won't have, or any other light worker that you are following. Okay. Everybody sits on council. Write that down. Seriously, write this down. Everybody sits on council. And the more you engage with your path of writing your mind of your will, not mine, so that you're actually working and operating in the way that actually is truthful, or in alignment with reality, I should say. I lost a thought. Oh, because I was getting A Course in Miracles. So A Course in Miracles talks about that a lot. what you might like or be drawn to is at least read the first chapter in that book. I mean, it's a huge book, but read the first chapter in that book at the very least. And you might also, honestly, truly, madly, deeply, get a lot out of, yeah, because Jesus is coming through right now. You might also get a lot of walking through the daily exercises, which I think have like a sentence that you repeat for the day, and there might also be a message. It's actually been like a minute since I've gone through that book. That was something that I used earlier in my reawakening process, and I actually need to get that book again because it's come up a couple of times this year. If anyone would like to gift me with that book and the workbook, which has the daily ones, I will greatly receive that. Let me know, and I'll send you my address for mailing it. But shoot me a heads up first, like send me an email, just so that I don't purchase it before you're thinking of giving it to me. But that might be a good thing to do because it can help you to reorient your mind to be in alignment with reality of source, the soul handling all, and you in submission to that. Okay. The book is A Course in Miracles. So it's a book, but there's also a workbook. The edition that I had before included both. Okay, because the book itself is, just a standard, well, not just a standard, but it's a standard book. The workbook includes the daily exercises, so it's 365 days of the affirmation. So the one that I had was a combination of both, so it was a thicker, probably about like that thick of a book. But I believe, because I think I got like the combo edition, but I believe they're also sold separately, but I would want the one that has both. And to me, that actually would make sense. Like it doesn't. Oh, you actually checked it out from the library before. Awesome. Yeah, I want that physically because I know it's also on my list on the website for free tools. I feel like I gave a lot of the original books that made a huge difference in my life away to folks over the years because they needed it at the time. But I feel like I need to bring them back again just to have them and to have the energy, that frequency, because it's feeling similar energetically. Because again, what came through the Pisces reading was this is feeling like that part of the walk that I went through at that time 20 years ago. And this was coming through as a collective message. So there may really be a lot in there that can be helpful. Yes, it is good, Laurie Andrews. It is really good. Okay, any other questions? And then we will move to Marco. We'll move to Marco after that, and then we will close. And I think I will, I will be titling this message, Lord Maitreya and the Great White Brotherhood. 1 second. And I'm so grateful for the stream. Looking good. Random question. But I was curious, do you believe the universe spirit will test us with opportunities to see if we will stand in our worth and say no? Or is what's coming through actually what we may need? So this idea of testing is something that is created by lower mind, just ego mind, I'll say, not lower, ego mind. All possibilities are always existing. And I usually bring this up in terms of like dating, because it's easier for people to, I think, grasp or like understand in a way that like makes sense very quickly. So like, when you are dating and dating for the purpose of whatever, it doesn't matter. But when you are dating, you're continually going to be exposed to the full spectrum of people. Okay, so the quote unquote good, bad, and everything in between. Your job is to remain and be clear about what it is that you want, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, like just all of that stuff, and to represent and be and act from a place of wholeness. And then as things are being presented to you, offers are being presented to you, you decide whether it's going to be a yes or a no. So in that regard, you are always going to be given quote unquote opportunities or quote unquote obstacles and everything in between. And you're always testing, in a sense, your inner resolve. But really the test is, can you remember and operate from this space continually in all things? This could even be as simple as like, maybe you're going to a potluck and only maybe 2 out of the 7 dishes that are there you really like and or are really going to be good for your body. Are you going to accommodate and have some of the other things just to make the host or whoever brought a particular dish feel better? Or are you going to honor what is actually best for your body or how you want to feel and prioritize that as opposed to assigning your power outside of yourself? So it shows up across the board from the so-called mundane all the way up to the high stakes stuff, but we don't get tested. It's just life, it's just existence. So hopefully that makes sense. And you say what you need based on what you want. Your job, though, is as things present to determine whether or not it actually is going to work for you. And if what you're seeing is not working for you, then you stay in your lane until what works for you shows up. And that's where we get caught up, is because we start second guessing ourselves because the amount of time it may be taking for that thing to show up. Because again, when we are operating from the space of the soul, we sit outside of time. When we work in the higher levels of spirit, things happen instantaneously. So the human mind, the physical body, has a hard time or can have a hard time with the space between occurrences because it takes a lot of time, right? It's not what is normal to the spirits, but you can't, I mean, what we have to try to do is not allow that space to catch us off guard and to slip out of what we know we need or what we're asking for and settling. I mean, real talk. Because if you hold out, if you wait, you'll eventually come across what you want. At the end of the day, you get what you accept in terms of the pursuit of, a goal. There's a lot that we don't have control over. But ultimately, for the things that you do have control over, you get what you accept. That makes total sense. I really like the perspective. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions? And then if not, we will switch to Marco. But yeah, I hope people can really feel into that, because when you realize how much of your energy you throw outside of yourself just because you might be tired of waiting, you'll realize how much power you're giving away and how much of your own momentum, especially to focus on other things that are also important to you, get diminished significantly. But can you hold the energy? Can you hold the focus? Can you hold the power? Can you be emotionally and energetically mature and not spill out your energy? That is mastery. That is right living. That is pure white integrity and high intention. Thank you so much for being all of you. Thank you. I'm thanking myself for being all of me. I am right there with you all. The work never stops. It just, in some ways, gets more refined, but other ways it can get harder. Because all of our life has to adjust. It takes longer for the physical world, right? But that's why we have to be gentle with ourselves, drop a lot of the judgment, because we are expecting the physical world and our human self to um, move as quickly and operate like the spirit does. And it can, but it needs time to shift and transform. Okay, so be gentle. Be disciplined. Like don't be gentle to the point where you slack off. But just keep coming back to the truth without all the judgment. Because what you speak is so. So if you're saying to yourself, oh, I ain't shit because I didn't do this, it's not even that the higher realms are going to agree, but it's like you also are your higher realms. So if you're choosing to throw fire and brimstone upon yourself, like spirit and it isn't exactly going to stop you because you're a sovereign being. It doesn't, just because you may get confused about who you are doesn't mean that that's actually going to bring it out of alignment with knowing who you are. And it's always going to affirm your soul sovereignty. Okay. Okay, let's go to Marco. Bring his energy up. So he's a liaison with Ashtar for the. Oh, so I think I would read this more so as Marco representing the galactic army, or our solar system army. And Ashtar is a commander, one of the commanders of the intergalactic fleet. An intergalactic fleet would be our Milky Way galaxy, because it's it's that would be intragalactic. I would actually probably say this intragalactic, because the extragalactic, meaning outside of our, and pretty much most of the star races that we connect with are actually stars of the Milky Way galaxy. Okay, so they're not outside of our actual galaxy. The Andromedans, though, are a separate galaxy that is heading slowly but surely here to Milky Way. There is a potential that Arcturus, or the Arcturian system, might have been a galaxy that had gotten absorbed into the Milky Way galaxy. Potentially, it's still kind of up for debate. So that energy may be native to us, it might not. That's still be figured out, but it feels, it actually is probably, it's probably not, but it's been here so long, but it is also on its way out. So by the time it leaves, it's probably going to be when Andromeda is closest on its approach. I'll have to look at the timing of that, because it's millions of years. Of course, it's not anything soon, but so yeah, I would say Marco, in terms of the way this is being written, is most likely in charge of, he would be a general then if that's the case. He would be a general of the armies here of our solar system. And then Ashtar also would probably be in the fleet, but, well, the intergalactic fleet, so part of the Milky Way galaxy fleet. But a representative here because from this system. So there would, of course, be other star races connected with who Ashtar might be relating to, whereas Marco would be dealing with primarily folks who are native to this solar system. Okay. Hopefully that made sense for those of you who are sci-fi nerds. that probably made sense. What's the way that I can yeah, let me not go on a tangent. But like, you know, Star Trek and Star Wars would be the best way to kind of get the differences in the smaller scale interplanetary coalitions, right? And like they're kind of like armed forces versus like the larger galactic force that they might be a part of, and there being one or more individuals who are also part of that bigger galactic fleet that are indigenous to this particular solar system. Okay, so Marco is working with the Arcturians. This has really been an hour channeling. Interesting. This time has flown by. Let me get some more water real quick. I finished my tea. Look what card came out in the center. 4 of Wands. Okay. Ugh. All right, so I got 6 of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, 4 of Cups, 8 of Swords, the Moon, and 4 of Wands. All right, so we seem to be more marching orders. So this is about the Libra season. At least, if not at the very least, and all the way up to the full autumn season, which goes from last week, the autumn equinox, up to the winter solstice in December. Still changing out the energy. 1 second. All right, I'm hoping I can get this message out before I run out of battery. I will, but okay, so the way to help and support the third and fourth dimensional levels for us is to work on the emotional balancing and emotional equanimity. And again, that polarity stuff within our own individual life stream, again, at these levels, so our human level and astral level. Okay. Because that lays a foundation on the other side of things that supports the work on the higher level. So it's important for us to not lose ground, okay? Because more has been exposed, both externally and internally, but we're also opening up to more and more and more of our, again, our soul nature, our own energies, our own heart space, etc. So there's more that we have access to. So there's, it's important to bring balance and peace to that. It's not, as I mentioned earlier, it's not a small thing. It actually has profound effects because remember, we all have higher dimensional aspects. So make sure for your part that you are keeping yourself on the up and up, which also keeps your higher levels on the up and up, right? It is important to stay up on the protection aspect of things because there is a lot of energy that is opportunistic, I will say, and which is looking for which like it just needs an opening kind of thing. It's just like lying in wait. Like, so it's not even necessarily like an attack, but it's like if it sees an opening, it's going to get in. So as long as you are, again, staying in your lane, staying emotionally balanced, because emotions is one of the quickest ways for us to magnetize different things to us. And that doesn't mean like you have to feel good all the time, but it's like, you know, those moments, especially since we've had this timeline jump, you know, those moments when there's like this random emergence of a heavy emotion or a really negative thought that comes up, and you might spiral for like a second, but then you come to your senses and just like, and you're just kind of like, okay, what was that? Like, that's not me. Like, that's what that energy is. All you have to do is just bring your attention back to that Nine of Cups energy. Like I said, like staying focused on what actually is important for you to be doing right here, right now, and what you're moving into. So just always bringing the attention back, always bringing the emotions back to whatever your center is. It doesn't mean you have to go, again, like I said, to love and light and rainbows. But when, again, that random quote unquote stuff comes up, like that's not you. Okay. So recognize that, use these colors, use the support of the angels, use the support of, as I've mentioned, all the beings before. Like, I'm not going to get back into that again, but that's all there. But the bulk of your work, of our work, is the personal and staying on top of protection, and that actually will help considerably. Now, from the top down, so to speak, this is a campaign that is going to be going on for a little while. Right now, the focus is for Libra, but it will be shifting and changing as we go through these next months in preparation for this new lunation cycle with the eclipse at the end of the year. But there, with the moon card showing up here in particular, I'm hearing a collective unconscious clearing. So not just, well, yeah, just collective unconscious clearing, whatever that's going to mean for you. But I would think this is actually, since this is coming from Marco at the galactic level, this is going to be collective unconscious clearing, like for all living beings, just all things, period, for our solar system. And they are working to keep things along the middle way. This collective unconscious is getting a lot of clearing, a lot of clearing. But that's not a burden that we have to carry, because they are truly taking care of it. So remember as well too, because this second half of the year is the 6-month cycle of the new moon solar eclipse in Cancer that started, that kicked it off in the beginning of July. Remember, this is about following the path of the soul. Okay, Cancer is about the individual soul, trusting the inner wisdom, the higher heart, etc., and going with that flow. It's very different than Capricorn energy, which is like, it's very linear. The Cancer or the water energy is going to be more of a spiral or a wave. And you may not, your ego mind might not think that you're accomplishing anything, but you are. But the soul is leading you, if you allow it, and if you take action, it's leading you in a way that's going to make the best of your energy to create the highest level impact in your life. And the more and more you can sit with that, the more and more you can trust that, the more and more you can see how easy your life can be compared to possibly how it was before when you were trying to be in control of everything. Again, your will, not mine, right? Prioritize rest, ease, and grace. Remember as well, too, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in autumn, and then later we'll be getting into winter, so less daylight hours. The soul will help you move through things and accomplish things with efficiency if you allow it. You actually can do less and still achieve the same, if not more, if you follow what the soul tells you to do when it tells you to do it. But this is a way to practice operating from reality, not from the mind, which is a created thing. Created things are always submitted to the spirit. Because it's a creation, it's made up. It can be created and dissolved. Type any questions that you have. I'm going to look for last messages, and then we will close. If you want to learn more about what is going on at the higher levels, and you're cleared for access, and that would be from them, like it's basically like you ask and it's either opened up to you or it's not. Like, but you can connect with the energy of Jupiter, the planet itself. But most likely it would only be informational purposes, not necessarily marching orders at that level. And this is even for the warrior folks, like, excuse me, a lot of our focus right now is closer to home. Real talk. I mean, obviously we're still aware of other things that are going on, but in terms of like the work and the focus is definitely more close to home. And that's because we are shifting into this embodiment phase. So speeding up the process of embodiment of the next stage of ascension for, because that's going to be wherever you are in your journey, you have entered already. That's what the threshold was. You have already entered your next ascension stage. So so that next level of embodiment is what is on deck right now, which is why there's so much of a focus here on the personal, because later on, that's going to mean there's going to be more people available to actively, consciously engage, because, you know, again, your higher levels are also doing work, but to consciously engage in the process will be there, and you'll be able to do so with more mastery and sovereignty. Okay, no questions? I think we are good then. I feel that I am on my path, and there is some practical guidance as to my next steps that I'm having a tough time tapping into. You should have guidance for the exact next step. And if that hasn't come through yet, that means then that there's still a current step that you are needing to decide to take. Because the thing is, like, because we are truly in new territory, what comes next is necessarily contingent on what happens right now. So, oh, and actually, I'm glad this came up, because I want to come around to this thing about take your time making a decision about things. And it's not that, like, necessarily the decisions that you're making are really big and really huge, but if you actually factually don't have a deadline for when a decision needs to be made on something, give yourself the days and potentially weeks to sit with something before you decide, so that you really are tuning in and making a decision that makes sense for you. Don't rush for something just because you're creating this idea of needing to get it done, or some idea of expectation from the other person, etc. Like, if there actually hasn't been an agreed upon, like, okay, I need a decision by end of day today, or I need a decision by Friday, or let me know within 2 weeks, or what have you, give yourself the time to make the decision, whatever it is, from the mundane all the way up to the big stuff. Again, if there has not been a set deadline for it, because a lot of this practice is following the guidance of the soul. And if the clarity about what it is for you to do on the current thing that you are to be deciding on has not come through, then that means it does not need to be something that is a priority for the moment. When it's time to make the decision, it will come through. It will come through with ease and grace and peace. And you will feel an alignment with the position. But if you're in your head and doing the mental machinations, that's the stuff that's going to get you into trouble, quote unquote, or be a lesson or a test, right? So yeah, that's the guidance. And also too, there still may be a lot of things that have to get tied up, or like tied up meaning completed or finished right now, before new things open, new bigger things potentially open. Or if big things do open, it's they might not necessarily be coming into play until later on. I feel like the resources aren't yet available to take the next steps that I think are practical. I don't want to be complacent though. If the resources aren't there yet, yeah, it's not time to take any steps. Like, let it be that simple. I know it's not easy. Let it be that simple. And that thing about the complacency is what we are all really going to be dealing with, is because this idea of complacency we have to really look at, because we are used to being hyper active, and we get really uncomfortable. Speaking from personal experience, we get really uncomfortable mentally and emotionally when we're not always on. If we're not always accomplishing, if we're not always doing, if we're not always being productive, if we're not always at a certain point that we think that we should be at a particular stage in our life. Like, but again, that's where that self-judgment comes in. Your will, reality, and speaking to reality, your will, not mine. Lots of shifts in mindsets, and this confers so many things, especially how I work. Awesome. I'm going to pull just a card for you tomorrow. It's a shift. I've specifically been looking at that myself. Princess of Wands. This is the high heart. This is the soul. Whatever this is telling you to be focused on right here, right now, that is it. When it tells you to move and shift or whatever, then you move and shift. If that has not come through, having mastery to stay where you are. Which, again, easier said than done. But listen. Okay. Any last? 1 second. I am gonna go. Yeah, stay focused on your work. The Galactic Council is taking care of things. All right, but trust your higher self. Temperance card, trust your higher self. Your higher self is the voice of your spirit. Think of that as your high heart, intuition, inner child, whatever terminology you need. But this is a devotional path. Your will, not mine. Stay focused on what you are to do in the here and now, and let spirit and ancestors tell you what to do and lead the way. Okay. So, closing guidance. I'm actually going to pull from here. Closing. Oh, goodness, this is a long one. Closing guidance. Almost as long, I think, as my Lionsgate one. Hopefully you all have enjoyed. Hopefully you all have enjoyed. Eight of Swords. Protect your mind, protect your space again, but also surrender to the divine. This is the card of surrender. That's what's going to give you access to the spiritual power, okay? The human can only go so far. Spirit is actually the soul, source, however you want to look at it. That's actually what's in control. Come into alignment with reality. Come into right mind. All right? You're welcome. Let it be simple and not rushing. Yep, easier said than done, especially for those of us like myself who is a cardinal sign and has lots of cardinal energy as well as air energy in their chart. This is not easy to do, but the space is needed. Okay, we're holding a lot. So welcome, fellow light workers. And I hope to see you in the Lightworker Incubator class when that opens up. Like I said, I will be working on getting that set up so folks can start applying and signing up starting next week sometime. All right. I love you all. Bless you all. Again, go back and rewatch. I will be putting the timestamps in the bottom. That was like a 2-second closing. But I actually don't have the energy to do a prayer, so I do actually need to get off. The energy's dropping, which means I need to eat something. So I'm actually going to go and do the recommendation about the water, right? So I'm going to get a clear glass, and I have some citrine. I'm going to put that out because it's like 12:28 right now. So I'm going to put it out for exactly 30 minutes. And then I'm going to drink that and let that give me life. And then I'm going to do my adulting, i.e. human stuff that I got to do for today, and do it looking cute. All right. Love you guys too. Rest well as well. Enjoy the sun if you do have access to the sun. Follow the guidance that came in, the directives, really, the directives, and have fun with the star family as well. Love you all, and see you soon, God willing, of course. Bye. I hope this is ending. Well, I'm going to sign out. Let's check. It's still streaming. Okay. It's still streaming. Okay.